What's happening? Welcome back. Episode 32, Superhero Academy. It's James Taylor. Welcome to the show. If you haven't been here before, we talk about life. Really, we're trying to get to the truth of it. What's real and what's not. What's in our perception. How can we get better? How can we make things not necessarily easier, but gain power to create? That's what Superhero Academy is about. So, welcome to the show if you haven't been here before. And if you are coming back, man, thanks. That's awesome. That this content hopefully is helping you out a little bit in life. I know it's helping me out. And the reason why I bring this content is because I come across different things during the week. Like this week, the word came to me. It was so crazy because I was walking down the hall at work, and the phrase came. It's just a random phrase, and it said, "Love is the absence of fear." And I just marinated on that for a second because it's the absolute truth. When you go through something, when you go through especially something painful, because that pain seems so real in whatever it is, we consider that so uncomfortable that we hone that in our minds as something that we just don't want to go through again. And it becomes this thing of resistance. We burn bridges, we hurt people, we do all kinds of stuff because fear of the unknown or the distortion that fear creates in the mind about something, misunderstanding. Fear is all of that based off of a pain, physical, spiritual, mental pain. Because all the pain is in the mind, right? If you didn't have pain receptors on your shin, whenever you kicked a table, you would end up breaking your bone. But the pain doesn't happen in the area. It's the body telling the mind, hey, something's wrong. So, love is the complete absence of fear. It is not this I love you, where we try to make it this thing where we express our affection for someone else. But we've made it that. Love is the complete absence of fear. Love in its essence cannot exist if fear exists. Love mixed with fear becomes hate, jealousy, envy, pride, greed, all that other stuff. That's what fear does. Fear is this frequency here, and love is this frequency here. And love takes a higher energy to reach than fear. That's why love, when you're in love, everything else becomes almost pointless. And the days are brighter, and you can smell every single scent on the wind, and you can hear the breeze, smell the flowers. It's all of that. But it's so much more, because love is the acceptance of being in that moment. Everything that love is not, fear is. Fear is an emotion that causes us this unpleasantness regarding someone or something, and the pain that we anticipate being caused as a result of it. Fear causes us to shrink ourselves, causes us to take a step back. It causes us to believe in a pain that has not yet happened, or that we are causing to happen in our mind based off of the fear. It causes us to view endings as something bad instead of the beginning of something new. Because if you guys were here last week, maybe the week before, you found out that you have to sacrifice in order to gain. You have to give something up in order to gain something. That's the way life goes. You can't hang on to things if you expect to get things. All endings create new things. Me pruning this money tree that I have here, when I prune that money tree, it hurts me because I'm taking a fully grown leaf off. For what, you know, what I expect or what the tree makes to be a new leaf. It's the craziest thing. A new healthy leaf. The old growth getting its brown spots, getting unhealthy, ends up becoming a new growth, which helps the plant. Love is the only bridge that covers the distance of the gap between what we know and the unknown. It's a bridge builder, and fear destroys any chance that we have of bridging what we know to the unknown. Fear causes us to resist the unknown because we don't understand it, and because we don't understand it, we resist it. Not knowing what there is, but love seeks to accept, seeks to understand, seeks to find the truth. It is not resistance at all. And when you apply this concept of love versus fear, this acceptance versus resistance, this unconditional versus conditional, you can check your actions, because what you sow, you will reap. And so if you sow in love, you will reap love. If you sow in fear, you will reap fear. All of these things are reciprocal based on your actions. Love will always seek to understand, and fear seems to create its own distorted answers. And love, as we said before, seeks to accept while fear will push away. Love seeks the truth, and fear doesn't really care about the truth, because fear in that moment is the truth. Just like when you kick your shin against a table leg, the truth of the moment is that you've kicked your shin against the table leg. That's the reality. Not even that it hurts. It does hurt, but just to let you know that something has transpired. Learning opportunity. Not even something bad. There's a table leg there. So love versus fear in life. Just some real quick examples. In life, living in love, we choose to accept the reality of life, like we just talked about with the shin thing. It doesn't mean being a doormat and getting walked all over, but it means that in accepting reality, you choose acceptance, which is, it is your responsibility over blame and resistance. We become responsible for our own existence in that way, and accept the results that we experience as this truth. And when we do that, we're able to change the world around us. Our own personal world, we're able to change. In fear, it's impossible to do that because you're constantly resisting what is happening to you. That's why things are happening to you and not for you. Because in love, everything is available because you are accepting instead of resisting. And like we said it before, everything seems new and good and wonderful when you live in that state. There's this kind of sunshine to life because, as we know, light cannot exist without darkness, and darkness cannot exist without light. They are not one and the same, but they exist together. And without one, you can't have the other. With love, we become that light that sheds on the darkness, which takes us to love and fear in relationships. Love will cause us to accept people for who they are, not put conditions on how we want people to act. It is unconditional. It is accepting. And, you may say, well, what is this? What if I don't? The choosing of the like and dislike is based on fear. And if you don't vibe with someone, you don't vibe with someone. That doesn't mean that you have to choose to like someone or dislike someone. You can have great relationships when you choose this way of life. Love. Because you accept people for who they are in every moment, not the image that you have in your head of the person. Acceptance doesn't need this like or dislike that we've created in society that we always have to have about things. And this is in intimate and platonic relationships. And we may not always understand things, and so that's where fear so quickly comes in to distort the reality of the situation based on our previous experiences and perceptions of how things have gone down, and our angst that we have about pain, physical, mental, and spiritual. Love bridges that gap always, unlike fear. And this is why relationships end, is because of fear. Versus of what we don't know, what we don't understand, what we're not willing to understand. That's why love allows us to place ourselves in the shoes of the other person, which causes us to seek to understand, obviously, versus dislike and choose to like. Love always builds, fear tears down, fear causes the pain, love sees no pain, only learning opportunities. And lastly, love versus fear for ourselves, how this helps with us. Because what we want and desire out of life, what we choose to do, is strongly guided by love and fear. All of our and like I said, all of our previous encounters and experiences are what drive those choices that we make now. If we allow it, if we're not living in love, fear will always drive us to make those choices. Fear of pain of rejection, pain of loss, physical pain. So we shrink, we reject. We choose decisions that cause us to lose out on opportunities. We choose decisions that cause us not to go through physical pain. Fear. And when we choose love instead, we're able to move past that fear. And by choosing the love, again, we can build the bridge into the unknown future. And this is why you see people that are stuck in that one decade. You're like, this person is dressed from the 80s and they've been dressed like that. Like, they're stuck in that because they've been resisting the future the entire time. And this is for me as well. You know, this is why we find ourselves stuck in the same kind of loop. Like, I've been here before. Fear of moving forward. What is really out there? And we like we say, we are afraid of the genuine power that's within us. And so we shrink. So choosing love. Love is acceptance, fear is resistance, and the indescribable feelings that we get are what cause us to make the decisions, especially based off of previous experiences. So whenever you feel these things, especially fear versus love, acceptance versus resistance, try to flip-flop the feelings so you understand what it is that you're feeling in the moment before you make that decision. That helps you to understand whether you're acting in love or fear. Understand that what you sow, you will reap. And if you sow out of fear, that's exactly what you'll get back. If you sow out of love, again, you'll reap love, acceptance, abundance, all of those things. And the third one is just that love is the gap bridger to the unknown. Endings are beginnings, and to every beginning there is an end at some point. And accepting all of that allows us to live life in a very happy way, knowing that all things work out the way that they're supposed to. And love is an acceptance of life and the reality that it is in front of us. So choose love, choose acceptance, truth, light. All of those things are encompassed in love. That's why love is infinite. Love is great. Love should not be dumbed down to a word that you use to describe affection that you feel for someone. Fear will always be a choice. but you don't always have to choose it. Episode 32, Superhero Academy. Thanks for hanging out. James Taylor. We'll be back next week. Make sure you check out the blog, superheroacademyonline.com. And I know you're here on the podcast, but we got the YouTube as well, where you can watch the video of this. And we'll see you next Monday. Have a great week, and I'll catch you later.